India is suddenly finding itself in an increasingly uncomfortable position on the world stage. As both President Biden of the US and Prime Minister Trudeau of Canada are now refusing to attend India Republic Day celebrations this week, it's also reported even Hindu British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is likely not to attend. All because the tentacles of India's authoritarian regime are now extending their reach overseas in the form of transnational repression. After the murder of Canadian citizen Hardeep Singh Nijjar on Canadian soil and the attempted murder of Gurpatwant Singh Pannoon in the US, both countries have become deeply wary of India's regime and its behaviour internationally. And now an increasing number of other nations are beginning to recognise the potential threat India's programme of transnational repression may be to their own sovereignty. Pressure is now mounting in France as Sikh groups have formally written to French President Emmanuel Macron demanding his government also boycott India's Republic Day celebrations, demanding he join Biden, Trudeau and Sunak in sending a diplomatic message of condemnation to Narendra Modi. And Sikh groups across the European Union have also now written to EU President Ursula von der Leyen, setting out their concerns over not only transnational repression, but India's shift from a democracy to an autocracy, reminding her of India's deteriorating reputation over human rights abuses and declining freedoms of speech. As a result, they have demanded the EU also ensure President Macron does not attend any celebrations. And now, to add further to India's woes, the European Union itself last week adopted a hard-hitting resolution setting out its position towards India. The resolution laid down principles for how the trading bloc would move forward with India, particularly with a view to developing relations, weaning the growing potential future superpower away from authoritarian regimes like China and Russia. But the resolution made very clear that trade agreements and future relations could only exist if several areas of deep concern with India are addressed. These referred to India's poor record on human rights, including acts of violence and discrimination against religious minorities. It referred to the harmful effects of the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, and what it called the dangerously divisive Citizenship Amendment Act, legal instruments that have been widely condemned by democratic nations across the rest of the world. It called upon India to respect the human rights and fundamental freedoms of citizens in the worrying situation of Jammu and Kashmir, and particularly required the Indian government to cease making further inflammatory statements. The resolution then condemned India's acts of violence, increasing nationalistic rhetoric and divisive policies. Whilst Narendra Modi is widely predicted to win this year's Lok Sabha elections, his growing authoritarianism is now increasingly damaging India's reputation on the world stage, particularly at a time when the nation may find itself in need of friends with an increasingly belligerent China on its doorstep. You've been watching Satellite TV News. Don't forget to click on that subscribe button to make sure you get to see stories as they're broadcast. And of course, if you have any comments or opinions on any of our news stories, you can of course comment below or indeed drop us a direct message at message@satellitetv.com. We do like to hear from you. In the meantime, thanks for watching. For Satellite TV News, I'm Angus Scott in London.